It's all about the money, money, money. Can't forget the money, money, money. Hello, and welcome to the next episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies with special guest Tim Davis. This is the podcast where all three of us went and saw a movie at our local Regal Cinema Theater, and now we're going to talk about it in the parking structure in Matt's Honda Pilot. We're going to talk about such things as, should you see this movie? Should you not see this movie? Do you really need to pay attention, or can you slack off a little bit? Is this for kids? This is not for kids. Should you save it for streaming? You know, all that important stuff that we try to get to, and maybe you'll learn something along the way, or maybe you won't. I don't know. I am Todd Domer.
And I'm Matt Malloy, and yes, we hope you learned something. You'll at least learn how we felt about this movie today. So we saw a movie. It's called Dumb Money, is what it's called, and it's about the GameStop stock buying frenzy that happened in 2021. And so we'll talk about all that. But first, Tim, tell us about the many celebs in this movie.
Yes, this movie had quite the cast list, and it's pretty busy. Even if some aren't household names, they've been in a ton of stuff. The lead was Paul Dano, who's a very good character actor. He's been in a ton of stuff. I think he was the Riddler in the new Batman movie. He was in Night and Day with Tom Cruise. He's been in a ton of stuff.
You always somehow figure out how to bring it back.
Always Tom Cruise. Well, Tom Cruise, man. Pete Davidson is in it. Everybody's favorite in this car. We had Vincent D'Onofrio and Seth Rogen play some of the hedge fund guys, as well as Nick Offerman from Parks and Rec fame and other various roles. America Ferrera, fresh off her Barbie run, is in this. Anthony Ramos, not a household name yet, but he was the lead of the most recent Transformers movie.
Oh, you're going to go with Transformers, okay.
What were you going with?
Hamilton.
Oh, fair. Sebastian Stan is in this, famously Bucky the Winter Soldier in the Marvel movies. Shailene Woodley is in this as the wife of the main character. She's been on television shows. What was that series she was in? The book movies.
It wasn't good.
It wasn't good, but she was
Advent, add something, adverse, add...
I can't even...
Something.
Yes. Dane DeHaan shows up in this. He plays the boss of one of the characters who works at a GameStop, ironically. And we had smaller roles for like Clancy Brown, who's always been a great character actor. Olivia Thirlby, who was in the Judge Dredd movie and in Juno. Just lots of even smaller roles had known actors in it. But that's the main list, I would say.
Yeah.
Wait, was she the Judge Dredd? Was that the college
Seth Rogen's
girl?
wife.
Oh, I was like, where did she show up? Okay, now that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Matt. Take it away.
It's all good.
Hey, it's all good. So what is this movie about? Well, this movie, as I mentioned, is about what happened in the stock market in early 2021 primarily, is when things were really hot and heavy with, basically, it was a David versus Goliath story where you had these retail investors using a service called Robinhood primarily to buy GameStop stocks, which is a little bit tricky to say.
Yeah.
But I'm pulling it off so far.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they buy these stocks, and GameStop was very low, like around below $10, and they're pushing
$3.
Yeah, right. And through events of online banding together type of thing, this Reddit forums and so forth, a lot of people were buying this stock, and it really pushed it up, well above in the hundreds of dollars. And so this movie is about what happened during that phenomenon. It focuses on this main character who's, he goes by Roaring Kitty, or what's his other name on Reddit?
I can't
forgot
remember. I know what you're talking about.
Something.
Yeah, I don't.
Good fucking value or something
name,
like
yes.
that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it focuses on the main guy,
Keith Gill.
Is his real name, real person. This is all based on real stuff that happened. And basically, when GameStop is like $3 and change a share, he goes on this internet and he's invested $50,000 of his own money at this point, and he goes on to one of these forums posts a video. The video says how he feels about the stock and why he thinks people should buy it. And for some reason, it kind of resonates with people, and people are like, oh, I agree. I'm going to do this. And it takes off from there, and it becomes this like battle between all these people buying and holding the stock and these huge like hedge fund people who are shorting the stock, which basically means they're betting on it to fail. And if it doesn't fail, they lose a lot of money because they're shorting it with a lot of money. I don't totally understand all of that, but basically
they call these day traders who are doing this, they call it dumb
money.
Hence
right.
the movie's title.
Yes.
They look down on them as these idiots.
So the movie takes us all the way from the first day of him posting this video to the rise over the course of the year 2020, culminating in this like chaotic time in January where hedge funds are going out of business and really losing like billions of dollars because of what's happening with their play. They're betting on this stock to lose, and it wasn't losing, and everyone was holding it. And it really became this kind of cultural phenomenon at least within this Reddit forum of stock bets, Wall Street bets, it's called. And anyway, so the movie traces all that. It explains it all in great detail and kind of focuses on all the different players, from some of the hedge fund owners to this one guy, and that's what the movie's about. It's based on a true story, so you got truth. So
hopefully, somewhat,
somewhat truthful.
Yes.
So Todd, I want to hear what your truth is as you approach this movie, Dumb Money. What is your gut reaction? What is the truth
That was
for you?
so smooth.
It really was.
Bravo.
Thank you.
Okay, so I would say on a whole, I like this movie. Like, it was very informative. It was all about subjects that I know nothing about.
Me as well.
Like, I don't know the stock market. It confuses me. I don't understand it, and so I don't participate in things I don't understand.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Especially when you could lose a lot of money. So I've never really ever even wanted to be like, hey, let me play some stocks, unless someone was doing it for me who knew what they were doing.
Right.
But I liked how they presented this movie. I like how you are following almost like 6 different storylines, and the interconnecting thread is the GameStop stock. Like, so that was interesting. I liked that. The people who I expected to like in this movie, actor-wise, I thought all did well. The people who I don't like and don't think they're good actors didn't surprise me. So in case anyone's wondering, that's obviously Pete Davidson. But
Right.
I also think Shailene Woodley is an empty black hole when she acts. Like, it looks like she's only giving minimal effort at all times, in my opinion. That's just me.
I didn't even notice her.
I'm not like, I just quite critical. I never thought she was a good actress. So, and her whole Aaron Rodgers drama, anti-vaxxers or whatever. But this movie is only going to be. I don't think any of us went into this movie thinking this is going to be the best movie I've ever seen in my life. Not on this subject matter, not on, these type of movies. I mean, I don't know if it was made by the same people, but it reminds me of like The Big Short. These real life events, like that was the housing market one. Like, so it's like these real life events played in movie, but explained so people can actually understand, what was going on. And then there's Vice about Cheney. We saw that. Like, I don't think this one was done by those people, because there wasn't a narrator. All the other movies have a narrator at times explaining things. So yeah, I mean, like, it's just the subject matter of this movie. Like, if it doesn't interest you, then I don't know. Don't go see it. Like, I don't really know. I think it does well if you don't know the subject matter. Like I didn't know, so I still enjoyed myself. But it's a straightforward movie. You're getting a movie and a snapshot of this time in history for this specific stock. So it was good. but I almost think it has no replay value. Like, I don't know if I'll ever
That's fair.
watch this movie again. But I enjoyed the experience. So if you want to go out to the movies and you're interested in this material, or if you're just looking to see a solid movie, you know, not the best and certainly not the worst, just a solid movie, I would recommend this one. But is it like so good and the subject matter so important or something like that that it makes me broadcast to the world, hey, go see this movie? No. But if you want to see it, I encourage you to see it in theaters. You also don't miss anything if you don't see it in theaters. Honestly, there's no scale down or anything like that. It's not like there was a big CGI battle during this movie or anything like that. So, yeah, that's gonna be me. I'm rambling. I liked it. In summary, I liked it. I don't think the masses have to come out and clamor on this movie, but I guess if you want to see more movies like this, you support it. But you know, it's good. You'll have a good time. I don't think anyone will walk out going, that movie sucked. But you're not going to say, like, that's etched in my memory forever. So, that's me. Tim?
Yeah, I'm with you a little bit. I think, I would argue it's interesting that it's a movie that was done about something that happened really recently. And the fact that, like, you know, that's a quick turnaround for a movie in this day and age, I would say. And as we were coming out of the theater, I was thinking, this is the first movie I can really remember that takes place during the pandemic, with the pandemic as like a background piece and something we all can relate to because everybody experienced it. And that kind of, I think, helped with the, like, you know, the drama of the movie, even though the pandemic just happened to be what was going on at the time. It added some of the isolation that I would say the day traders felt in sticking together against the man, so to speak, you know, and it was a plot device that I don't think was even intended to be, but it just worked and helped build the tension amongst the two sides. And as someone who browses Reddit from now and then, I remember when this was happening, and even if it's not something I would look at or read, I couldn't help but notice it because it was being posted everywhere, and I didn't understand what was going on, but it just definitely something was happening, and I can understand that. And now to see the movie kind of put it all in the context makes it go, wow, not only do I remember that, but now I really understand what happens to them for the most part. And it's kind of like, wow, the power of the internet is a big theme of this movie, I would say. The power of social media / people rising together who don't know each other up against, you know, the so-called 1%ers. Is definitely the theme of this movie, and it was, you know, interesting and kind of plays out, even if you don't know the details of it all, how you might expect it would. But that doesn't mean it's bad. It's like, you know, sometimes real life stories are interesting because they happened, and I thought, like you said, everybody does their part in this. Some people have small parts, some people have big parts. Pete Davidson's Pete Davidson. He's going to do what he's going to do. I actually thought Seth Rogen was better than he usually is, because he wasn't first time cast in a non-Seth Rogen role, and I thought was fine. Like, did he knock it out of the park or anything? No, but he didn't do Seth Rogenisms.
Right.
And so I thought, okay, good job, Seth. And everybody else I thought was really solid. Not knowing, you know, how the real people probably felt about their portrayals, but they showed some of the real people in the very, like, I guess you call the epilogue clips at the end about what happened to these people. And I thought, like you said, a really good movie. Probably a one-timer, like you said, you know. But I could see it being up for awards or something. It's the kind of movie that critics would love. And that's not a knock at it. It's well done. It's almost like a documentary, but not. And I'd also recommend seeing it. I think it's good, but you don't have to see it in theaters. Matt?
Well, so I too remember when this was happening and remember not really understanding it too clearly. But I thought this movie does a really good job of taking you through, maybe not explaining every detail, but really taking you through and building the drama between these day traders, or retail traders as they're called in this movie, and the hedge fund people who are really kind of shaking their boots at certain points, and just the pressure and the nervousness that the retail traders have of whether they're going to sell their stocks or not, or when they're going to sell their stocks. I thought the movie does a great job of kind of building that tension. The other thing that's interesting about this movie, to me especially, is when I think about like what the internet has given us. Like, I grew up, I was growing up before there was really an internet or a web or anything, and then it appeared, in the 90s, we'll say. And one thing that is negative about what we have is everyone can share their voice and everyone can say the stupidest things that they want to on the internet.
That was another theme of the movie.
So that's like, I mean, that's in this movie, but that's like the downside of what we get with what we would say, what I'll call immediate publishing of your opinion, where people can see it in a public forum. It's almost like the printing press was in like the whatever 1600s or whatever that happened. But the good side of it is that you can have these sort of David and Goliath moments when it's not really David and Goliath. It's like many thousands of Davids against a few Goliaths. Right. And you can have those experiences because the internet allows people to communicate immediately, to share their opinions immediately in real time and respond in real time. And even to the point where, just to say that we can have these types of movements that we couldn't really have before. And they even highlight in this movie, there's a time where the main forum that they're on Reddit that they're kind of everyone's communicating on, Wall Street Bets, is taken offline for some reason, unknown reason. But and the sudden isolation is highlighted of all these retail traders who are
what do we do?
I don't know. Maybe I'll sell. I don't know. What's our guy doing? Or like our main guy who told us about this stock and is hyping it. And I thought that was pretty interesting too, as someone who makes a living off the internet and off web technology. I thought it was an interesting highlighting of a few different things that the internet gives us, and how they relate to this story and what can happen. So that part was pretty interesting to me. I thought the overall story was interesting and well told. I think Paul Dano, do I have the name right?
Yeah.
I thought he was a great great cast.
Yeah, he was. He looks like the guy too.
He does look like the guy, especially how they have him made up in this movie.
Yeah.
And he did a great job. I thought that there were a few parts of this movie that were actually kind of touching and uplifting and sort of made you feel like you could be somebody if you wanted to be somebody. But anyway, I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was well done.
Matt, you can be somebody.
I can?
If no one has ever
Matt.
told you that.
Okay.
You can be somebody.
You could be a roaring kitty.
Great. I could be a roaring kitty. Well, anyway, I enjoyed the movie. I would say you should watch it. I even have some stocks, and I don't know how any of this works anyway, but I still have stocks.
Yep.
And this movie taught me virtually nothing.
Yeah.
But what happened to GameStop stocks and in 2020 and 2021. Yeah. And I thought that was an interesting road to travel. So that's me.
Good stuff. Well, how many kitty cats would you give this movie? Cats being a theme for this dude, and he doesn't own any. Not that we've ever seen.
His persona.
0 being the worst, because then you got no kitty cats, and 5 being the best, because then you have 5 kitty cats, and that's good. Unless you don't like cats, then that's real bad.
Like cats, unless you're saddled with a cat.
Yeah.
You can't get rid of the cat, but you still have it. If you're in that situation.
Are we speaking from experience?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to reveal that. But I will say,
what is your rating?
My rating is 3.4 kitty cats, because you can never have enough kitty cats, and I thought that this movie was worth a bunch of kitty cats. So 3.4, enjoyed it, had a good time. Especially always like when you have the what happened to the person after this
Epilogue
movie.
stuff. Yep.
That's always great in movies like this. I always love it. And they even showed real clips of the actual people testifying before Congress who you saw in this movie. And that was fun too. So anyway, 3.4 from me.
Nice. Tim?
That is the exact same ballpark I was in. I was going right at a 3.5. I think, like I said, solid performances, interesting story, worth a watch. Not an all-timer, but definitely a solid recommendation.
Sweet. Well, I'm not too far off from you guys at all. One of the biggest problems I have with this movie that I have tried incredibly hard to not ding the movie on, because it's really not the movie's fault at all, is that I hate GameStop. And I think it's like one of the worst companies.
And they touched on that. I thought they touched on that too.
I'm happy that many people didn't lose their jobs. However, I'm not happy that GameStop got saved. I think we could have got something better than GameStop if it went under. But I don't want many people to lose their jobs. I don't know. But that's me. That's my own problem.
Okay. But I thought they portrayed the company.
Yeah, and I'm not dinging
Dane DeHaan playing like
and all the time,
stiff.
as a person who's worked for a GameStop, like all the scenes of the employees in GameStop was just hit so true. Yeah. Including how the managers
push the stuff.
I was like, yeah, so everything you see of GameStop in the movie is trash. And then it's this whole movement to get money out of GameStop.
Yep.
Anyway, I landed on a straight up 3.0.
Okay.
Like I said, I don't think it has much rewatchability to it, but I'm certainly not upset that I saw it. I liked that they spread some light on this thing that I also lived through, that I only knew a little about, and I still only know a little about. If you're going to see this movie and expect to understand the entire situation of what's going on, it's not going to happen. You
just might have a better idea.
Unless you're into stocks and mutual funds or whatever, unless you are an investor and trader or whatever, then you probably know all this stuff. So,
yeah,
that's it for me.
Or you're looking for the next company.
Also, Pete Davidson sucks.
Yeah.
I just feel like I would like to throw that out.
I have to say that in this movie, he did suck. But I thought it was one of his better performances. That's not saying much.
He played a sucky character.
He got to play himself. It's my argument for Michael Cera too. Sometimes he can pull off great
Scott Pilgrim
role. Yeah, but then sometimes I'm just seeing Michael Cera.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about Pete Davidson. Every single role I've ever seen him in, I am seeing Pete Davidson because I don't feel like he can act, but he can be himself. And that's every single role he is.
Yeah. Well, I'll say that I thought that the version of Pete Davidson acting as Pete Davidson we got was a little bit more toned down than the over-the-top Pete Davidson that we get a lot of the time.
I think that's right.
True.
I didn't like him. I wish he wasn't in this movie. I wish someone else played that character. But whatever. I'll give him a little bit of credit for that.
The character they wanted, I think he was the guy.
It also didn't tank the movie for me. There have been times where we've been watching the movie and I'm like, this Pete Davidson role is so god-awful that I want to walk out of this movie.
Yes. Right. Well, enough Pete Davidson Love Fest.
Woo!
Any other thoughts before we wrap up?
Nope.
Okay. Well, that's going to wrap it up then for this episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies, where we saw the movie Dumb Money, and we gave it an average rating of 3.3 kitty cats out of 5, which is a decent rating, and I think we'd all say we enjoyed ourselves, and, if you're looking for something interesting, this is an interesting movie. And so please continue to listen as you have done if you're hearing this. Subscribe, download our podcast because we love it and you love it. And keep on doing that. And we will see you next time.
Da 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 da.